So Ray asks, this is my dad, you know. This is Ray, yeah. So what should the government do to educate children about personal finance? There's a class on the curriculum called PHSE, which is personal health, social and economic. But in the 4 years of middle school, there hasn't been one lesson on the economic side. You both have kids. What would you recommend? T's child majoring on crypto and Damo's son having 7 bank accounts. He doesn't need 7 bank accounts. He only needs mine. He rinses it. But yeah, go on. Let's start. What financial education did you have at school?
I won't name the school. I went to a very good school, and we had a class of economics. I think I lasted like a term and I dropped it because it was so boring. But none of that's
personal finance.
None of it was personal finance. It was all just about boring stuff.
Economics.
So, I just dropped out after a term, switched to something else. But yeah, I find, and nothing talking about investing. In my MBA, I did do a course on investing, and I was talking about Warren Buffett and different types of investing, and that was quite cool.
But a lot of that was like financial, because I did the finance degree at Durham, and it's like financial markets risk management, and it's you're basically doing things that you would do in an investment bank to calculate risk, like analysing a business or whatever. None of that's teaching you how to use an ISA, how to set the actual things. What strikes me about my channel is I can often worry that the message I'm putting out is too simple, and then I'll get people that are like, "Oh, I'm a QC, I'm a lawyer, I'm a judge, and I don't know this, and I'm too embarrassed to say that I don't. And your video has just opened my eyes to this." Yeah. And these are highly intelligent people that you will trust to operate on you or to make judgments on murder trials that don't understand how to invest inside of an ISA. Yeah. That's a failing from an education perspective because they're clearly smart.
And I find it's a lot of people our age as well. Like I was so surprised that so many people like, I find this so interesting. It's so simple to understand now. I've never thought about my pension. I've never thought about my ISA or the stock market. So I think people just get scared because no one's actually held their hand and showed them the way.
Yeah, and like, schools almost have this attitude of we teach them what we teach them, and then it's up to the parents to teach them like these life skills. But if a parent's bad with money, you just compound that problem through generations, and then you just get whole families stuck with bad financial habits because your mom might be a bit of a spender and she gets loads of debt, and you learn that that's their normal, and you see your parents arguing about money and you think that money's this negative thing. And it's,
or you have people who their parents made a lot of money, like doctors, lawyers, whatever, they leave it to their kids and their kids blow it in one generation because they don't know how to invest it, how to manage it, and then they just spend it all. So it's a problem for everyone, I think.
So, we had that PHSCE, whatever it was called back then when I was at school. And I remember putting condoms on bananas. I don't remember them ever talking about personal finance. Do you know what I mean?
I do remember condoms on bananas.
That sticks in my head. Like, what's 1 hour a week? Just 1 hour a week from a young age to introduce the topic of money.
And you think the government would be behind it because it's going to benefit the whole economy if everyone's investing in like things in the UK and everyone's got more money, so it's going to help the GDP. So I don't understand why this isn't a priority.
So like one aspect of the UK economy that's a bit broken is the housing market. And there's a strong argument that the UK has an obsession with owning homes, right? And everyone's like, oh, safe as houses, blah, blah, blah. But actually, there's just tons of money sat in houses up and down the country that's not doing anything. Yeah. All this value, right? And people, if you educated them better, might go, well, actually, I could get a better return elsewhere, or I could deploy that money in a different way. Yeah. And, people think, oh, I'll just keep getting bigger and bigger house, and then when I retire, I'll sell it, and then I'll there might be better ways. Like the use of an ISA, I think 3 million people in the UK have a stocks and shares ISA, but like 20 million have a cash ISA. What's going on there? That's literally just money going backwards long term.
And I find like even things like, always go back to crypto, just because the reason that people will go be like, oh, I'll buy Dogecoin because Elon Musk said something. Like, why are you making your financial decisions based on, oh, my friend made money in it, or I read this thing on Twitter, or someone said something on Reddit, so I bought this. Like, really, you should be doing a lot more research, and you should be thinking about why you're investing in something. But people are like, oh, so-and-so made money in this, I'll do it, because they don't have the education and the fundamentals, where really it's like, even like people who have debt investing, like people don't really know what to do in the right order just because it's never been taught to them.
Yeah, financial literacy makes you richer and live longer, makes you happier. There's just everything is a positive. If you teach people about how to manage their finances, wealthier, happier, live longer, why wouldn't a government want that for their population? Yeah. I think for me, it should start very young, because I think we have this attitude of like, oh, don't discuss money around the kids. And then that just teaches the kids that money is something that shouldn't be discussed.
That's a very British thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bad. You know,
Americans are like, yeah, I made like 40,000 this month, but like English people would just never ever talk about how much you make, how to invest, how to save, how much things cost. Even when it's time to ask to invoice someone, we're so shy about it.
Or the bill.
Or the bill.
Yeah, it comes folded.
I get the bill and it's all folded, it's all secretive.
I tell my lad, I'm like, he's like, oh, I got £20, I'm loaded. I'm like, dinner was 200 quid, mate. And he's like, what? He's like, it wasn't even that good. I'm like, I know. You know, so I try and bring to light just how expensive things are in the world, so that they can see these costs. But I think I would introduce money very young, you know, in a simple way. I'm not going to pretend that I know how to educate kids. What I will say is that YouTube captures the imagination of kids like nothing you've ever seen. They teach kids about spelling and all of that. These videos have got like hundreds of millions of views. And there's child psychologists that work on the channels that are very good at grabbing kids' attention and teaching them things through a way that they enjoy. Apply that to money knowledge. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know what the curriculum should be for children, because I'm not a child educator. But I do think that it should start at the age of 3, 4, because money is fundamental. As Deborah says in a book, it makes the world go round. Deborah Meaden, sorry, is who I'm name dropping there.
Future guest. I mean, I think there are so many, like you said, YouTube channels, like kids watch other kids playing
Ryan's Toys, Blipping, all of this.
PlayStation games, and like they'll watch it for hours. So, and then there's educational. So my kid, I give him all these stuff. Not meant to watch TV as a baby, but I give him now like 20 minutes of like counting and like dancing and sing songs and stuff.
Dancing vegetables.
Yeah, so they should have a little finance fund. This is one. Sesame Street could do it very well, or the Muppets. They should do it. Yeah. Yeah,
and you know, could you teach children about compounding and investing and the sacrifice of consumption today for the hope of greater consumption tomorrow? Yeah. So could you teach kids to delay gratification? I think that'd be so powerful, because now kids have everything whenever they want. Whereas if you could say to them, no, if you don't have this, at the end of the day, you'll get 2 or whatever. It's these kind of lessons that we can teach to stop the consumerism and to stop the misery that comes from that. You know, everyone just pursuing more and more and more. I can see it in my own children. It's like, they don't want to wait for anything.
Yeah. I went to visit my friend, Ollie. I went to go see him the other weekend, and his kid was like, we went to the shop and his kid's like, oh, can I get the Pokemon cards? And it was like the small packs of 10. And he's like, oh no, I want to get you the big pack, like a 50 or something. And the kid's like, no, I want the pack of 10. I want the pack of 10. He's like, look, this costs £5, but the pack of 50 costs £10, but you get 5 times more. Wouldn't you like a big box? And then he like had to explain to his son. It took about 5 minutes, but in the end, he got it. So it's about putting the effort, I think, like convincing them that you can get more later if you don't spend it right now or you don't have it right now.
Yeah.
But it's got to be in ways they can understand, like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, it needs to be relatable to them. Yeah. It needs to start small and expand over time. But by the time you're coming out of school, you should know how to invest, why are you paying to a pension, how to do that effectively and efficiently. You should know how to manage a credit card and how to pay a direct debit. All of these things should be taught to you.
First time I hit a credit card, I got to uni and they've sent me a little letter. Would you like a credit card? I'm like, I've never had one. Why not? Ran it up on holiday. And then I was like, oh, I've got to pay it back now.
It's a weapon of mass destruction that just lands on your doorstep. I was
taking money out the cash machine. And
it's crazy. It's crazy that they can just fling those out.
I wasn't responsible enough to own one at that time, but I was like 18 in university in Durham. And I was like, well, I've got a credit card. That's terrible idea. But if I had
a student overdraft, I was just like,
student loan.
Two grand of free cash.
Yeah, I'll have that. Thank you, man. We're going out.
Took 6 years to pay it off.
We're going out.
Yeah.